It's HYLN video time, and in today's video, we'll take a look at some of the other Stirling engine development attempts, because it looks like there have been at least 2 attempts prior to HYLN, and both of those involve the Department of Energy and the Department of Defense, and for some reason, something happens and the project gets dropped, and after some time elapses, someone else picks it up and tries again, and it gets dropped again. So maybe with HYLN, the third time's the charm, but we don't know for sure because I can't predict the future. And the first attempt involved Philips out of the Netherlands and General Motors looking at the Stirling engine technology, and this was a long time ago. I think they first started looking at this. It started around 1958, and then eventually it was just stopped in 1970. And this was written with a typewriter because it was that long ago. In 1958, GMR received considerable encouragement from the U.S. Army Engineer Laboratories at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, to develop a Stirling outboard motor as well as a small generator sets which could be nearly silent. Presumably, they would have been purchased in large quantities to replace existing internal combustion power units. The near certainty of an Army hardware contract for a Stirling power plant was one of the major considerations which influenced GM corporate officials to sign the GM-Phillips agreement in 1958. And there's a note in here that says, it should be pointed out that all contracts with the Army at Fort Belvoir were strictly hardware type, not for research and development. This was because a GM Phillips contract prohibited sharing of know-how and design details outside of General Motors. This restriction, however, made it difficult to obtain further support from other branches of the armed forces and government agencies. So they were very restricted in what they could do. And eventually, let's see here, the first licensee of Phillips in the technology of Stirling engines was General Motors. Starting in 1958, General Motors worked on Stirling engines until 1970, when the program was abruptly terminated. And also mentioned in here, the electromotive division worked on large engines for marine applications. I got excited when HYLN announced that they're going to do something with the Department of Defense with marine applications, but lo and behold, in 1958, the same kind of thing was happening between the same 2 government agencies, but just with different companies. And the second attempt, that was the first attempt. The second attempt, that came into play. President Carter signed the Automotive Propulsion Development and Research Act of 1978. And initially they had tasked NASA to do the project management. And at first they wanted to give it to Ford Motor Company. And Ford Motor Company took that up in 1978. But then they didn't want to have anything to do with it because they had higher priority items other than trying to look at this Stirling engine technology. And they said, well, we can't do this. So in 1978, they gave it to a company called MTI, Mechanical Technology Incorporated, and they began looking into it and doing research. And eventually the video from 1992 came out showcasing the work that was done. They put Stirling engines in a pickup truck in a United States Postal Service truck. They put them on, I think, a van as well. And then the outcome of that, and this is in a 1977 report, in accomplishing the objective of transferring European Stirling engine technology to the United States, the Advanced Stirling Engine Project succeeded in establishing an extensive U.S. technology and vendor base capable of designing, developing, and commercializing Stirling engines. As further indication of successful technology transfer, MTI, along with a gas industry consortium and Hercules Engines Incorporated of Canton, Ohio, is developing a commercial Stirling engine based on ASE technology developed in the Stirling gas engine program. So in 1997, things are looking good. They're going to commercialize it. They partnered with Hercules Engines, and 2 years later, Hercules Engines, they go bankrupt. Their military contracts dry up because the Department of the Army, instead of using their engines, they decide to go for Humvee engines, Humvee trucks, and spare parts from different vendors. So all the money dries up from Hercules Engines, and my suspicion is that project gets dropped again. And now, at the end of 2024, there's the Department of Energy, Department of Defense, GE Aerospace, and HYLN trying to commercialize Stirling engine technology for a third time. Is the third time the charm, or is it just going to be just abruptly stopped again? That's it for this video, and of course, thanks for watching.